Hey everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Kitty. On my channel, I do like to do scary stories. I also do vlogs, tons of live streams about anything and everything, storytelling about my personal life, traumatic stories. I do shopping hauls and makeup related videos. So if that's something that you are interested in, there's something here for everybody, so make sure to subscribe to my channel right now. As you can tell by the video, it is a scary story video. The way this works is my subscribers, aka my friends here, they will email me their scary story and I will read it here with you guys for the very first time. So make sure to share your story if you have any. My goal for this year is to be more active on my channel, like how it used to be back in the good old days. So I do need your help. So send those scary stories in. I do want to hear stories from other reservations. It can be First Nations, Canada, it can be Alaska, anywhere here in the US. Any scary stories. I want to hear Mexican scary stories, the brujas, the owls, the all the witching, the scary stuff. Mexicans have some scary stories, and I even want to hear some like Haitian scary stories or maybe some like Caribbean scary stories. So let me know. Otherwise, let's get into the first video. Good afternoon, Kitty. I want to submit this story provided by my grandmother. Yay! Now, this is what I love. This is what I mean. If you guys have an elder, because they have the best scary stories, they have the best stories ever. And if you guys have an elder or someone who cannot, or who's just lazy to write and type, do it for them. Take one for the team. Type it out and send it to me, and we will get to it. Okay. She loves your channel and was wondering why you haven't posted in a while. I told her you needed more stories, so she asked if I could write her stories for her. This is what I love that. I have quite a few that I'll be sending in, but for now I'll submit one. I have another I'm nearly finished with. I'll be sending in another day. Thank you for your stories. Take care. This story takes place on the Navajo Reservation in New Mexico. My grandmother was excited to see that you posted again and looks forward to you posting her story. Several years ago, my grandmother had moved back into her house she had with my late grandpa. She had decided after he passed she would grieve from a distance and move in with her son's family. It took her a few years to finally decide to come back into the house she had with her late husband. During that first year back in her house, she had always been the type of individual that would make sure she would have her doors locked at all times because she was living alone. She remembers a while back, her late husband would always tell her to do so for her safety reasons, especially during times he was away on travel. She lived out on the reservation in an area that was close to the nearby canyon, and her neighbors were her relatives that lived about a half a mile away. One night, she had fallen asleep earlier than usual and was unable to do her normal evening routine, which included checking the locks of all her doors. She had briefly woken up and turned off the TV in her room and went to bed. Later that night, she had heard someone's voice whispering to her, telling her, "Shh, they are here. Be careful. Make sure you don't move. Pretend you're still sleeping. They're coming into the house." Realizing she wasn't dreaming, she opened her eyes and didn't move, looking into the darkness in her room, waiting for her eyes to adjust. She didn't see anyone. She thought to herself, why was she hearing her late husband's voice, and who was he talking about? Confused by what she had heard, she decided she was going to get up, and just as she was about to move, She heard the back doorknob slightly turning as though someone was quietly entering her home. She remembered the voice and thought to herself, I did hear him, and he said not to move and to stay here. She laid there to her side, quietly listening to hear footsteps enter her room. She was puzzled. The footsteps she had heard weren't of normal footsteps she was expecting. Fear had suddenly come over her as she realized the footsteps she was hearing was not a person, but footsteps you would hear if you heard of a dog walking on wooden floors. You would hear their nails clicking as they stepped onto the floor, thinking to herself, how could an animal know how to open a door, let alone quietly, as if not to be heard? Just the simple thought of an animal doing such a thing frightened her. She was all alone in the house. She quickly reminded herself she had to remain calm and listen to the voice she heard, which was not to move, but to appear sleeping. As she heard the footsteps inch closer into her room, she noticed whatever was in her house was not one, but two. As the footsteps were at the entrance of her bedroom, an awful smell poured into the room. She remained calm, with only her eyes slightly open as she waited to see what would enter her room. The steps had walked in suddenly, changed into a heavier but quiet steps. She had seen two dark shadows of people walking into her room. These individuals were quietly walking into her room, looking through all her stuff. She did her best not to move and pretended to sleep. She kept thinking to herself, what are they looking for? Who are these people in my home? She watched them walk around and prayed that they wouldn't approach her. Suddenly, one of the individuals, who was taller, had walked in front of her bedroom window where there were partial lights beaming in from the outside streetlight. She had seen a man with long hair, his hair partially covering his face. What little she could see of his face, she couldn't recognize who this individual was. It was only for a brief moment. He had quickly moved out of the light and decided to suddenly walk toward her. She just laid there, still. As he stood there, staring down at her, she heard the other individual's voice whisper, let's go. They both walked out of the room. The footsteps walking out of her house were heavy human steps, but as it got closer to her back door, it had changed to the sound she had heard before, nails of a dog like legs clicking on the wooden floors. As they got to the door, she heard them quietly exit her home with very little sound as they quietly shut the door behind them. As much as she wanted to jump up and lock her doors, she questioned whether they really left her house and wondered if they did leave. What if they are right by the door waiting for me to get up because the man stood by her beside possibly could have known she wasn't sleeping after all. She laid there, reminding herself to remain calm and that she would wait a while until she felt like it was safe for her to get up and lock the door. What seemed like hours, she heard the rooster crow and realized it was morning. Finally, convincing herself it was safe to move, she got up quickly, checked her door. Her door was unlocked. She was so upset with herself for not checking. She opened the door and then noticed footprints outside her doorway. They were not of human footprints, but of a dog, wolf, or coyote. These footprints could not have been of her own dogs, as they were small puppies that slept under her house and could not have been from a nearby relative's pet. These footprints specifically walked directly to her door and walked from and back to the nearby woods. She then realized she was visited by two skinwalkers that had appeared to be looking for something within her home. Chills ran down her back as she remembered hearing the doorknob slightly turning to quietly entering her home, and the image of the two animals doing such a task was startling. She stood on her porch, looking out to the distance at the footprints that led away from her home. She felt like she could hear her late husband scolding her about always making sure she locks her doors, as she may unknowingly welcome something in. Ooh, that's creepy. That is so scary. Ugh, I just got the chills. Imagining your loved one, especially an elder, um, going through something like that is scary. Glad she's okay. Um, that's scary. Thank you for sending in your story. Let's get into the next one. Hi, Kitty. Our scary story experience took place at BIE School in New Mexico. This area is part of the Navajo people's traumatic history. It has become a small community. A new school had to be built not too far from the old one that was shut down about 19 years ago. The new school is said to be built on unmarked grave sites. Both schools have had their share of scary stories. Here is our story. It all started when I heard about a bus driver who had a scary experience in the gym. I shared the story with my daughters and they wanted to investigate. We were all curious about the paranormal world and had plenty of experiences up to this point. My daughter wanted to try out a ghost app as well. This was the perfect time and place to do this. We didn't think we would capture anything and knew not to rely on a ghost app as solid proof that connection was made with the paranormal world. The gym has a big stage with a curtain. Some of the lights reached inside the curtain that we had opened just a bit. The right and the left backstage had a little light reaching it. We had the app running and began talking to whatever may be there. We also had another phone recording the investigation. We talked as if this thing was a child, since a girl ghost has been seen and heard by many other people. We asked if she went to school there and if she wanted to say anything. The app was picking up words that related to the little girl ghost and the time period that she would have lived in. The app showed, "Thank you for respect." Interesting, we thought. A few minutes later, when my daughter stopped recording and we were getting packed up to leave, a shapeless black mass came out from behind the curtain and flew between us. It went up towards the rafters and blocked out the lights, and then it disappeared. We looked at each other in disbelief and fear. My other daughter did not capture it on her phone and didn't see it. I said, "It's time to go." We got more than what we came for. My body was cold and full of goosebumps. We walked out of that gym as fast as we could. We had to get ourselves together when we got to the car. We reviewed the video and discovered that there was a white figure the size of a small child in the back where the light didn't reach. We didn't see it at the moment of recording, so we were shocked. I don't know what this black mass was, the little girl, or maybe something else. Seeing something like that can make you feel sick. It's a different type of energy and it can get into your mind and spirit. It was too much for me, and I told my daughters that we can't do that again. To this day, we haven't done any more investigations and we deleted the app. Thank you for your time to read our story. That's creepy. That's scary. I used to really want to do paranormal investigations at one point, but as I got more into learning more about just spirits and entities, and a lot of them are not good, and a lot of them can attach themselves to you. And so I and then it all goes back to my belief too, you know, like the elders in my community would always say, you know, not to mess with spirits, and a lot of them will attach themselves to you, and you're not supposed to bother them, you're supposed to let them be. So I definitely, obviously, am a believer in the paranormal, and so the thought of going somewhere haunted sounds fun, but the worst part of it could possibly be something attaching itself to me, and then I come home and bring it to my family and it causes chaos. I'm good. I said no. So yeah, I don't think I would do any investigations. So thank you. You guys are brave. Thank you for sending in your story. That concludes today's video. Make sure to subscribe to my channel right now. I'm gonna give you like 5 seconds. It costs nothing to subscribe to my channel. It's absolutely free. Also, there's a hype button down below the screen. It says hype. Make sure to click that button and hype this video up. That's the way this pushes out into the YouTube world, and it gets our channel seen. If you guys want to send in your story, make sure to email it to whatwouldkittydo12@gmail.com. Type it up. You type it up. Type it up for somebody of your loved one. Doesn't have to be your story, like I said, but please send us in some stories, because I'm going to start going through these stories like crazy. So send in your story. Thank you for all my loyal subscribers, all my loyal friends out there. I appreciate your continued support. I've been doing this for so many years. I love what I do here, and I love the connections that I make with you guys out there. So let's keep it up. This is our year to be consistent again. Last year was really crazy because my small business literally took over all my time. But this year, I want to be better at managing my time. So my goal is to get more of these videos out. So I need your help when it comes to the scary stories. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.